In the late autumn of 1996, a string of strange reports began to surface from a remote corner of northern Europe. The area was unremarkable on maps, a desolate stretch of pine forest broken only by marshes, granite ridges, and skeletal remains of abandoned villages emptied after the war. For decades, the land had been ignored, left to rot and be reclaimed by nature. Yet, hunters, loggers, and surveyors who entered the region carried back stories that chilled the bones of those who listened. Their accounts were fragmented, erratic, but unified by a single recurring detail: an anomaly buried in the woods, a presence that bent reality itself. At first, the anomaly was spoken of as a kind of mirage. Men wandering through the fog described seeing shapes that should not have existed: staircases leading upward into the treetops and vanishing, walls of stone buried in moss without doors, silent towers glimpsed at a distance that dissolved into smoke when approached. Others told of time behaving strangely, of watches freezing, shadows stretching at impossible angles even at noon, of voices echoing in the distance though no human soul could be found. Animals avoided the place, their tracks circling its borders as if some primal instinct warned them away. The stories might have remained folklore if not for the disappearances. In November, a group of 3 surveyors sent to chart the land failed to return. Their equipment was found weeks later, scattered across the swampy ground as if torn from their bodies by unseen hands. A camera lay half-submerged in the muck, its film later developed to reveal warped images. Pale forests folded like paper, sky fractured into mirrored shards, and streaks of black that curved unnaturally across the frames like cracks in glass. The men themselves were never recovered. By winter, the government had closed off the area. Officially, the reason was unstable ground and potential chemical contamination. Locals whispered otherwise, muttering of a tear in the world that swallowed anything reckless enough to come too close. Soldiers were stationed at the periphery, though few spoke openly of what they guarded. It was said some of them walked out at night, pale and glassy-eyed, with no memory of where they had gone, as if the anomaly had called them and sent them back altered. Researchers were eventually dispatched under the cover of secrecy. They built a base at the edge of the forest, from which they sent instruments, drones, and small teams deeper inside. Their measurements recorded inexplicable fluctuations, spikes of radiation with no source, magnetic fields twisting in ways that defied physics, and sudden drops in temperature that left frost clinging to leaves in midsummer. Sound behaved unpredictably. Shouts could be heard clear as day from miles away. Yet whispered conversations vanished even at arm's length. Cameras captured images of structures that appeared one hour and were gone the next. No clear center of the anomaly could be determined, for its borders shifted as if alive, expanding and contracting like the lungs of some slumbering beast. What unnerved the researchers most were the objects. They found artifacts scattered throughout the zone, none belonging to any recognizable culture. Rusted metal constructs shaped like spirals, fragments of glass fused with bone, stones carved with symbols that changed when not observed. One discovery in particular was seared into their collective memory: a sphere of perfect blackness hovering a meter above the forest floor, swallowing all light. No reflection, no shadow, only an emptiness that hurt to look at, as if the eye rejected its existence. Approaching within 10 meters caused nausea, dizziness, and bleeding from the ears. Instruments failed instantly in its presence. The sphere pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Then came the dreams. Members of the research team began reporting vivid nightmares, visions of corridors lined with faceless figures, forests that stretched endlessly under a sky without stars, oceans frozen solid with shapes writhing beneath the ice. Some awoke with scratches on their bodies, though they had not moved in their sleep. Others spoke of hearing whispers in languages unknown, urging them deeper into the zone. A few vanished entirely, last seen walking calmly into the mist without hesitation. Records from the base grew increasingly erratic. Logs revealed entries written in hands that did not match any member of the team. Some were in alphabets no one could decipher. Others described events that had not yet happened but later came true with disturbing precision. One journal page was found describing the exact hour and manner of the writer's death 2 days before it occurred. The handwriting was his own. By spring, communication with the research outpost ceased. When a recovery team entered, they found the camp in ruin. Equipment lay smashed or melted into unrecognizable forms. The walls of the barracks were warped, as though bent outward by tremendous pressure. Of the personnel, only fragments remained, fingers fused with glass, bones twisted into spirals, faces stretched like wax across the floors. And in the center of the camp, carved deep into the earth, was a vast circle of ash. No vegetation grew within it, and the soil itself appeared burned to a depth of several meters, though no fire had been reported. Instruments refused to function inside the perimeter, screens going dark and compasses spinning wildly. The recovery team fled. The area was officially abandoned and declared permanently restricted. On maps, it was marked only as a military exclusion zone, with no further explanation. Roads leading toward it were dismantled, bridges collapsed, villages evacuated. For the rest of the decade, it was as though the anomaly had been swallowed by silence. Yet travelers continued to vanish near the region. Hikers, poachers, even thrill-seekers who ignored the warnings, all disappeared without a trace. Locals whispered of strange lights visible on the horizon at night, of sounds like bells tolling deep underground, of mist that rolled outward carrying the stench of iron and rot. Those who lived nearest spoke of waking to find their clocks reversed by hours, of photographs developing with figures no one remembered taking, of voices calling them from the tree line. Over time, the anomaly became legend, spoken of only in hushed tones. Some claimed it was a tear into another world, a realm bleeding into ours. Others insisted it was not a place but a thing, alive, feeding on the boundaries of reality itself. Whatever it was, it left a scar not only on the land but on the minds of all who brushed against its presence. No one who entered ever returned unchanged, if they returned at all. And somewhere deep in the shifting heart of that forbidden forest, the black sphere still pulsed, steady and patient, as though waiting.